What's up, everybody? Another episode of the Horns Down Pod. Y'all see who I'm with. Y'all see who I'm rocking with. Jay from Unfair Sports. Look, we got a few things to talk about. We got to talk about Williams Nwaneri, little recruiting. Got to talk about OU and the NIL. What's the problem? And can OU win the Big 12 this year? Can they really win the Big 12? We're going to talk about all of that after the intro.
You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Horns Down Podcast.
Always. Horns are always down over here. Jay, what's up, man? Tell everybody where they can find you at. Tell them to like, subscribe, do all of that.
Yeah, you know me, Jay, Unfair Sports. Just find me here on YouTube and wherever podcasts are down on listen to. So, Kchris, another fun episode going to come down the line as we expect.
Yes. So, Jay, as always, appreciate you for joining the show, helping us out, giving us another person to kind of go back and forth with about these ideas. So, let's just jump right into it, man. Williams Nwaneri last night was caught on camera wearing, the OU gear, OU Jordans, the OU team Jordans, the issue Jordans, right? And as if a lot of you don't know right by now, it's like the battle of the best out there at Union right now, I believe. I think you got Sperry and the boys from Carl Albert up there. You got, a lot of people are there. And just so happens Williams Nwaneri is there. And come to find out, he's saying, well, I'm going to let it play out. I just wanted to show love. They're still recruiting me, which I think everybody and their mama still, already knew that was going to happen. So, Jay, I'll give you the floor. What are your thoughts about this? Is it over or is it not?
No, it's not over. I think the one thing to remember when it comes to recruitment in itself is that regardless if you get somebody to give you a verbal commitment until they sign on the line, which is dotted, don't really mean much, right? Nothing is binding. And so that's why you see flips and everything. But to go with that, that's the reason why Venables and staff has implemented their policy. Same thing Clemson has as well, is when you commit, shut down your recruitment. More so, don't go on visits, don't, entertain. You can entertain people, but don't go do visits, basically. Their policy is to stop your visits once you decide to commit, meaning you are committed to the school that you say you're committed to. And then when you see players decide to go do visits, last year we had two, in Anthony Evans as well as Colvin Vasek. They both decided to flip and go to other schools. So traditionally, if you see players take additional visits after they've committed to Oklahoma and Clemson, they're most likely going to flip. And so that policy is in place to help prevent most of this. You don't see very many flips from Clemson, or even last year with OU. You saw two. So that's just kind of how it is. And so with Nwaneri mentioning that he's still being recruited, because Missouri doesn't have that policy. So honestly, I expect him to go take an official visit, potentially out in Oregon in September. He most likely will. Now, I don't know if the policy kicked in July 1 to where he can, or if it's August 1st, but I anticipate him making other visits throughout the season. And that to me is never a good thing for a top prospect. So it makes sense. It's exactly what you would expect. They're going to keep in touch. He was very close to Chavis as well as Bates. So I expect us to still go after him, and we'll see what happens.
So the hashtag, but the title of this video was Just Climb. That's pretty much all that you have to do, in my opinion. I think that a lot of things will be corrected this year if you go out there and do what you need to do on the field, which is go out there and win 10-plus games. Show them that, hey, we have the guys, the development never left, the coaching never left. It's just the fact that we got here and we overestimated the talent that we had. We had to do what we needed to do. We gave them a year to do these things that BV talked about. He's been open about it. He hasn't hid from the fact that he had to basically clean house a bit, right, to get what he felt was an adequate level of talent here at OU. on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball, however you want to go about it. He did what he felt was best this offseason. So with that being said, Williams Nwaneri, that recruitment is not going to end. As soon as he committed to Missouri, what did I say in the chat? I said, buckle up. This could be another Peyton Bowen, to be honest with you.
And a few people have pointed that out too. That's been the entire discourse online has been, oh, this is probably gonna be just like Peyton Bowen. And to be honest, I don't know if it's gonna be like Peyton Bowen. I'm gonna be completely transparent on it, but it does have similar. It has similar pieces to it. Like supposedly Nwaneri prefers Oklahoma and the coaching staff there, but his family wants him to stay close to home. Mom wants Missouri. I guess dad has interest in Georgia. With Peyton Bowen, it was dad wanted Oregon, mom wanted Notre Dame, and he wanted Oklahoma. And so could be some similarities there. I don't know what truth lies in that, but I'll say this. If he really wants to go to Oklahoma, he'll end up flipping his commitment. Yeah. But that Missouri law, man, lets them make some money. So if he signs his financial aid agreement, which is the loophole in it, technically that means that he can enroll and they can start paying him now.
But see, yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's like we have that law as well. It's just all you got to do is just commit, But hometown kid, basically hometown kid, home state kid, or whatever the case may be. Look, buckle up, folks. It's going to be a rocky road because I really feel good about this OU team, and I really feel good about what they're going to do on the field, what you're going to see. I think you're going to see a different brand of football. I think that you're going to look at this team and say, okay, I feel confident going forward each week. Each opponent that we face, are we beating? I think we're going to get past the hump of beating ourselves this year. I think that it's just going to come down to really just play calling and making plays, executing, to be quite frank with you. I really feel you're going to be able to circle back and have conversations. As we said before on other podcasts, Jay's podcast, On Fair Sports, definitely like, subscribe, and do that. Speaking of that, like and subscribe right now, Horns Down Podcast, if you would. But like I said, Peyton Pierce, guys like that is a guy that I think that you can circle back and have a conversation with. Ohio State may have a grip on him right now as far as his recruitment, as far as his commitment, but at the same time, he look, OU is in a great position, and I feel like we have a coaching staff and they build those relationships, those long-lasting relationships. So
Oklahoma's going to entertain anybody that's willing to entertain them. It's just the question lies is, will Peyton Pierce or Nwaneri or any recruit that they're going after, are they interested in still having conversations with Oklahoma? I don't think Peyton Pierce is. What I've heard based upon his recruitment, that dude's shutting it down, and
and I feel the same way, but at the same time, Jay, you just never know, man. You never know.
No, and that's fair. I think that you can ask, and until he tells you no, we'll see.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts about this right here? Hank says supposedly Okoye is out if Nwaneri is in.
I've heard that rumor. I mean, honestly, that kind of sparked heavily in the comments in my video around Williams Nwaneri committing to Missouri. Someone posted in there that Okoye is not fond of Nwaneri, and I haven't been able to confirm or even deny it at all so far. No one is willing to go on record to be able to have that conversation. But if that is the case, I've been hearing a lot of good smoke to Oklahoma for Okoye. So you get one of the top players in the state of Oklahoma, which at some point he will end up being a 5-star. You add him with former Oklahoma resident, now Florida recruit in technically David Stone, you've got a big one, and you get a big line that's going. And on that, Lamb, no, what I've heard is that based upon, like I said, in comments I saw in one of the videos, is that it's not that he won't come, he just isn't fond of him. Now, granted, can you mold that? You make that better for both of them and say, hey, we just put you on opposite sides of the field or something? Shoot, you go for both. You take both the takes, period. Yeah. Point blank, pause, end of sentence. You take both. You don't. You find a way to mold that over and make it work. But yeah, it just kind of depends.
It just kind of depends, man. I let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you this right now. Put you on the spot, Jay. Who you want? Who you want, man? Okoye or Nwaneri?
I mean, do I have to pick between the two?
I mean, we love to have them both, but just saying, you got to pick one right now.
If I gotta pick one, I'll take Okoye.
Take Okoye?
I think Okoye has a higher ceiling. I don't think it's by a lot, but I think he has a higher ceiling. I think Nwaneri has the higher floor. And just because of his size, he's 6'6", 270. That's not something you can teach. But Okoye's strong. Like, I mean, we watched him deadlift 750 pounds while chewing on a Oklahoma lanyard to get her done. That's natural freak strength. So, like, you can't go wrong with either one of them. I probably want the guy with the higher ceiling. That seems like he's got a lot more determination. And it feels like Okoye has the savior complex. And I think Nwaneri has it similar too, but Nwaneri is a lot quieter. I think that Okoye has a savior complex of, no, let me be the one to put this team on my back. Let me be the one to put Oklahoma defensive line football back on the map. Like, he wants to walk in and save everything and be the face. I think that's why I would go with him, because he's a little bit more assertive in that capacity.
And here's what I would say to Sooner Nation right now. I think that what we need to do is just kind of watch this year and see and get that sample size of what PJ Adebawara is going to be. And then also see if we can see a guy like Taylor Wynn possibly crack.
Wine.
Taylor Wine. Yeah. I keep saying Wynn. See if Taylor Wine can maybe get in the rotation or at least get some snaps here and there, right? Because I think that's where I'm at with it. And then see if our Mason Thomas can take that step. The reason why I bring up those three guys, because those are three guys that will probably play opposite of a Williams Nwaneri or a Danny Okoye. So I think that you're going to be fine even if you just take one. You get what I'm saying? But here's another thing. I mean, what's up with Dominique McKinley? You know, you're hearing that Ohio State is starting to kind of creep in and kind of, trying to move up in his recruiting or whatnot. So I think he's for the taking. I think OU is going to be in a good position. But hey, you just got to land these commits. I think right now where you stand on a defensive line, Nigel Smith and David Stone you got to have those two. Those two got to be committed. Those two got to be in your boat, or OU faithful is going to lose. I would say half or a good more than half will lose their minds, lose their patience, and probably jump ship.
I mean, granted, you're right. You've got to figure out how to land a lot of these players. It's not easy. So I'm actually working on a video right now with the actual facts. And y'all know me. I like visuals. I like having facts information. I'm breaking down the Clemson recruiting classes. Yeah. And based upon me going through that, you'd be surprised on how long it took for them to get a David Stone type player.
Yeah.
It wasn't day one. It was a few years. But what they did was, in which we're doing today, they got a lot of high-end fours as well as high-end threes or under evaluated threes, and they just broke out. So don't fret that we're not landing these can't miss players, because there's no such thing as a can't miss player until you see them actually on the field.
But see, that's my uncle, he was always talking about that when especially last summer, when he kept telling me, he's like, man, he's like, they have a chance to work wonders down here. You gotta look at one of the championships they had there at Clemson. Hell, one of those championships was with 3 stars. Guys,
the first one was
who were first round picks. Yeah.
The first one was that 2015 national champ. The 2016 national championship was full of a lot of kids that were under evaluated, and that's. And I'll put it to you like this: you get Lewis Carter type players, freakishly strong, Danny Okoye type guys that are overlooked and very freakishly strong, and they go out there and muscle teams like Alabama. That's what you want. And then you got to have an elite quarterback play, which with Jackson Arnold, we should see that this year. And then Kevin Sperry behind him, as well as Michael Hawkins in between, who will give you the dual threatness of quarterback. And so that's what you're going for. That's what you need to have. You got to have elite quarterback play, because remember, Deshaun Watson was a 4-star quarterback when they recruited him. The only 5-star quarterback they had was Trevor Lawrence, who was the number 1 player in the country at the time, and he just exceeded expectations. But Deshaun Watson was not Trevor Lawrence as a recruit. Then he went out there and cooked.
Yeah,
kind of need that.
And that's and that's why I have so much faith in this staff. So to kind of close that one out, I'll say this right here: that the recruitment of Williams Nwaneri is not done. I don't think it's done by a long shot. I think that it's going to go the distance. He's going to have to sign on that dotted line for me to believe it, or word is going to have to get out that he signed his financial, what did you say, his financial aid?
Yeah, the financial aid agreement, basically saying that you're going to go to the school, which every college student does that whenever they fill out financial aid and everything. And what I've heard also is that he's not an early enrollee, so that kind of helps. What Missouri is doing as far as their NIL stuff is that they can pay you the minute you sign an agreement, but it doesn't mean you have to go to the school. You just got to fulfill your, of course, NIL stuff, which is, him doing, being his face on pizza and stuff that they like to do there, which is
so my, one little bonus tidbit on this whole Nwaneri thing. Let's kind of transition to just Missouri as a whole. So wouldn't it make more sense if obviously he's a in-state guy, number 1 player in the nation, can't miss guy, this and that, all the rest of that, right?
Right.
Wouldn't it make more sense for them to kind of spread the wealth and go get a lot of other players?
Oh, I mean, they are. I mean, they're gonna get. They'll probably get Ryan Wingo.
You think
to go
so?
with him? Yeah, he's not far from them, and they're going to spend the money on them. So they'll get 2. They'll probably have 2 5-stars. And this is the thing I want to make mention to everybody. I want people to understand why I say that. Yes, we can bag on Missouri all we want to. We can laugh at how they have truly underperformed and gone to the SEC, because Missouri wasn't expected to be that great, except for their first couple years. They had Big 12 talent. They went out there and started running the table on that side of the division football. But this is the remember thing. This thing you got to keep in mind. They're still in the SEC. And Kansas City still produces a lot of really good players.
A lot of talent.
So because of that, anticipate them winning local battles. It's no different than us. We now have an OK Prep agenda where we're getting a lot of Oklahoma Prep athletes, because that's Brent Venable's focus. I mean, Eric McCarthy is one of those that the old regime would not have gone after.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't have gone after Xavier Robinson either, just because they wouldn't have. Yeah. But this staff recognized, if we can lock down Oklahoma next year, I think there's like 6 or 7 top 100 players.
2025 is that year for us.
Yeah, 2025 is like 6 or 7 top 100 players. And if we can lock up at least 4 or 5 of those, my goodness, you're going to put out NFL caliber players out of your state. And we're still going to get Texas players to go with it and everybody else in the nation. But my point is, don't sleep on Missouri being in the SEC and being close to a major metroplex. They're gonna get some of those players. So they've been pulling in good players. Plus, they put more defensive linemen in the league than the Riley regime has.
I'll say this right here, and that's perfectly fine. My whole thing is, and I've said this at a high pace, and I've said it so many times. I'm not confident if Drinkwitz survives the season. I'm just not.
I'm not either. I'm not confident in that, but that doesn't mean they're not going to get recruits that want to stay close to home.
Yeah, I think they'll get recruits. I'm just wondering who the hell do you replace Drinkwitz with?
That's a good question. I mean, it's the SEC, so Jimmy Sexton's going to find somebody.
We'll figure it out.
The one agent that owns every single coach in the SEC. They're going to hire him, and he's going to find somebody.
All right, so let's transition to the next topic. The next topic is going to be OU and NIL. What's the problem? Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, no, go ahead. Continue. Lead us into it. I think it's funny.
I don't necessarily know if there's a quote-unquote problem. It took us a second to get into the conversation. Then it took us a second to get into the building, right? Now it's taking a second to close the deal, to actually get in the room to close the deal. And I feel that we're offering these players and we're doing everything. We're matching offers or whatnot. I just don't know. It just seems like this has not really been kind of our cup of tea. And I'm not sure if there's a problem or if there's just a slight issue or if it's just the fact that maybe I don't know. And maybe that's silly me for not, looking into these collectives and saying, how are they actually paying these players? Is it any different from what Missouri, from what Texas A&M, right? Is it any different than what they're doing or what they're promising? Maybe ours, you have to be on campus and have to qualify, so many hours or this and that, whatever. I don't know, because it just seems to me that there's some type of disconnect that I feel like is correctable, but I don't know how.
No, I get you, and I disagree though. I don't think there's a disconnect whatsoever. I think we're offering top premium dollar to every player that we're going after. Now, I do believe that this staff has a limit in how much they are willing to pay a player. But I don't think it's as low as we would, as some people expect. We have the money. We are selective about who we offer it to. And if we talk about the Nwaneri situation, what I've heard is that we matched what Missouri was offering. But at the same time, I've also heard that we felt like we were being used to get Missouri to pay more. Basically, it's the bargaining chip. I know Georgia was. And Oregon, I think that they didn't even try to play in the sandbox fully because they knew that they'd have a real chance because of the distance. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the case, I mean, I think what I've heard is that we're throwing the money around just like everybody else. The problem isn't the actual money itself. The next piece is just where they want to be. Yeah. And that's what gets you. Like the David Hicks piece, and I know Hicks hurts a lot of people when it comes to that, and I try not to mention him as much, but he's a good example of the situation. He went to a school that he's right next to, that he goes to all the time, that he's been going all the time since he was young. That's how that works. If David Stone lived in Oklahoma City, we wouldn't have this conversation. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no question on if he would come.
You mean like David Hicks?
Yeah, no. Stone. If Stoney was living, or Hicks, if they lived in Oklahoma City, no one would have questions about them coming to OU, NIL or anything, because it would be easy to pay them because they're right here. That close proximity to family really, really, really weighs on the heart of players. And I say that because think about it this way: when you have a player that's good enough to be at a certain school and they decide to transfer out, what is usually the reason why they transfer?
Yeah.
To be close to the family.
Exactly.
Mom gets sick, family situation. A lot of times it's them wanting to be closer to home. And if that is the case, it's a lot easier for you to not want to leave when you're already at home type deal. And a lot of kids have a savior complex. They like the idea of being a hometown hero. Don't get that twisted. Kids like that. It's like a fun perk of being a football player.
I just feel like they need to bring me and you in so we can, hey, y'all do the pitch, y'all get the on-field stuff, let us talk the money, okay? Let us break these numbers down for them and let them know, okay? Yeah, 750 sounds great, but, what does that 750 really turn into towards, when you actually get on campus? What does that really turn into after taxes, right? I don't know, man. It just feels as though, like I said, I don't know if it's a disconnect, a slight issue, or just a huge problem, but it just seems as though we haven't won that battle yet where we can actually say, yeah, let's let them hang because we just put some money out and we got this player,
Right, but we also haven't given them an opportunity to do that either yet. You know what I'm saying? Like we haven't had time. Like it's literally been 2 cycles for them. We're on the 3rd cycle right now. And I'd say that in the cycle after this one, you'll really start seeing more of that. Like, for example, one player that I like looking up and talking about, did they get 2? There's no way they got 2 of these guys. Shaq Lawson. Y'all remember Shaq Lawson, right? Played for the Bills, really good defensive lineman and everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, Shaq Lawson was a 4-star, 346 ranked player in the country, number 24 on the weak defensive end rankings nationwide.
You froze, bro.
Did I?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, he wasn't a top 5 player in the country, but Shaq Lawson got drafted at number he was a first round pick. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, at certain points you've got to find players that are not being evaluated properly, and then you go and you win them. Yeah. That's really what we're doing. He's number 19 pick in the 2016 draft, which that draft had, Jesus Christ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, had 9 players drafted. Ooh, that title team, boy, they put out some players.
I'm just saying, man. But no, like I said, I just think that we gotta win one. When that will happen, I don't know, but we gotta win one for sure.
We will. I tell everybody now, we will. We're gonna win more than y'all think. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be as fast as everyone wants it to be. It's going to happen. You're going to look back and be like, dang, man, they got some really elite talent. Like looking at the roster we have now. I mean, for one, we've got one big 5-star plus in PJ Adebaware. That feels like it just keeps being forgotten. Oh, Chavis and Bates can't do it. They got PJ to come here.
Yeah.
And we know how much of a freak he is.
And I like what you said last on Ty's podcast when that one Missouri fan was talking. You were like, I mean, at the end of the day, we got your best player out of your state last year.
Two.
We got your best D lineman and best O lineman out of your state last year.
We're not going to win all of them. That's the thing about it. You're not going to be able to steal every top player from every state. I mean, we got a 5-star, and that's the beauty of it. PJ was a 3-star when he was originally evaluated, and when he committed in late July, early August, he was a 3-star at the time. And then as the season, only people that had him as a 5-star was on 3. Everybody else had him 3 or 4. He flew up the charts and became a 5-star plus when the season ended. Remember, we're in evaluation period now. So from now until November, these kids' games are going to be watched. They're going to be evaluated. And I promise you, the ones that we're getting, the evaluators are going to go look at them now because they're going to get a blue blood bump, is what I like to call it, the 3 Bs. As in, a blue blood was recruiting you, so there's a reason why they were recruiting you. Let's go look at you, and they're going to be like, oh, no, this guy's way better than we thought. We're going to move him up. And you're going to start seeing those. That's how JJA got his 5th star recently.
Yeah.
Georgia got him. What do you expect?
Duh.
Right. I think Nigel Smith's going to move into 5-star status.
Yeah.
Because he's considered one of the top dudes in Texas. And if he's considered one of the top dudes in Texas, being at Melissa, Texas, at another big school, he's definitely going to move up the charts. And you're going to be like, oh, well, there's one of your 5-star D linemen that you want, in which I am strong in believing he's coming to Oklahoma. That's the one to stop forgetting about. A lot of people are forgetting about him. Any recruit, do not forget about Nigel Smith.
Nigel Smith, David Stone, like I said, got to have him, Jay. Got to have him.
Oh, yeah. Like Pokemon, baby. Got to catch them all.
Got to have him. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead. Let's move into our last topic, which is, can OU really win the Big 12 this year? So go ahead and add this to the screen. And as you guys can see, well, hold on.
It's loading. I see it. I mean, do you really need to show the first 2 games?
I mean, I kind of want to.
Okay.
I think the SMU game will be a little bit better than what people are giving it. Don't you?
Who's their quarterback?
I have no idea.
My point exactly.
I have no idea who to start.
Tanner Mordecai is gone. He's in Wisconsin, which he's going to win that job.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the SMU depth chart, I'm pulling it up now to go through it. Preston Stone is expected to be their starting quarterback, and he is a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, but that's your starting quarterback. I mean, they got LJ Johnson Jr. At the transfer that came in. I think he came from A&M.
Yeah.
But I don't know much on Preston Stone. He's going to be the starting quarterback, so that tells me I should not be concerned about them. They got a lot of work.
Wheaton's there. Kamar Wheaton's there.
I mean, he is. Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Look through what they have on their roster and what even the evaluation's been on him. What is SMU's over under?
I don't know.
Let me see. Over under.
Go ahead and see.
8.5. So that means they may have a decent team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think they may have a decent test. I think it's going to be a good matchup for us to the second game of the season. We should be able to continue to work out any kinks that we have going towards the latter part. Well, going towards the Texas game, right?
Right.
My biggest thing is I think Arkansas State. I think that's a win. Start fast, man. I think the biggest thing for us is to start fast and to two biggest thing I want to see us do this year is start fast and kind of pace and pace ourselves once we do start fast. Actually connect, actually get the touchdowns, go up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and be able to just pace ourselves and be able to sustain that the entire rest of the way of the game. Not go out there like an Oklahoma State where you score 28 points in the first quarter and don't score another point the rest of the game. You get what I'm saying? So gotta be able to put together 4 good quarters of football this year, and you can't do it in a variety. In my opinion, I don't think you can do it like multiple ways like they had to do last year. They were forced to do last year. I think that you're just saying, hey man, just start fast and pace it. So Arkansas State, SMU, I think Tulsa would be a little funny matchup, 2:30 game. That'll be fun for whatever it is. Kevin Wilson's a good play caller, man.
Not gonna say he's not a good play caller, but guess who he worked with when he was at OU?
Yeah.
I'm just saying they know each other very well. I think if I'm correct, Levy was here too.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, everybody's playing against knows them. Now you can say the reverse, but the biggest problem, the difference is the difference in their your talent, the talent discrepancy. And so we got Tulsa beat on the talent discrepancy. And so as long as we're healthy, I'm looking at this schedule. We should start the season off 5-0 going up against the Red River.
Yeah.
Cincinnati had a lot of turnover. They have one. They do have probably the best defensive line in the Big 12. That Cincinnati defensive line is stupid good.
Yeah.
But new quarterback, new head coach. You got a lot of pieces that have turned over. Luckily for defensive line, all you got to do is go through a muscle, folks. So you really don't have much teaching there. Their offensive line needs to figure out how to gel. They got a lot of changes they're going through. And I think they were listed as considered the worst team in the Big 12, them and West Virginia.
I think Cincinnati simply is this right here. Don't let Emory Jones come out there and play hero ball.
And the problem is at a certain point you're gonna fall. You're gonna falter. I mean, I don't think Emory Jones can beat us in a track meet.
No, I don't think he could beat us in a track meet. But I also know that I've seen Texas Tech come out there last year with lesser talent, with a lesser talented team, and still be able to out-game, basically just out-scheme us when it got down to the nitty-gritty, being able to run that quarterback run game. I wouldn't be surprised if Emory Jones, you see a bunch of packages, them start out with stuff like that right there just to kind of get OU thinking a little bit more. Is he going to run? Is he going to be doing this or what? Not have a lead blocker or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if by that game Cincinnati is they're throwing the kitchen sink at us in the manner of we're going to try to outthink you. We're going to be very methodical in our approach in this game. I would not be surprised if they came out there and try to play a West Virginia, Texas Tech type of ball game against us, at least for last season.
Oh, no, I wouldn't bet against that either. My point is that they're going to go out there and they're going to play do all of this that they possibly can to make this a game. But you're going to run into one problem that you have to do. You still got to finish out an attrition and make it to the end and win the game. That's where I think they will falter. They're going to give us every team we play is going to give us their best shot. Just put it to you like that. And that's the reason why we have a 9.5 win total at Vegas is, the expectation is that if everything comes together, and let me preface that, as long as everything comes together like it's supposed to, which is looking like it, Oklahoma should win more than 9 games. And the reason why is last year, yes, we struggled against Tech, and it was the defense falling apart. We didn't have depth, and play calling wise, we were at that point where people were starting to finally get it, but not all the way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you falter. Now, half the team knows the defense and the offense. They're just teaching each other. Now you've got players on the field teaching other players while the coaching staff is doing it at the same time. I mean, last year we had 4 coaches that knew the offense and defense in total. The offense was known by Levy and Dylan Gabriel. The defense, 3 on 5 total. So defense was known by Bates, Chavis, BV, and Roof. So 6 total players, 6 total coaches out of the entire staff knew what the heck we were doing on defense and offense. 2 on offense, 4 on defense. It's very limited on how many people you can work with. And BV didn't let any Clemson players come. So any Clemson players win the portal, they didn't go after them. Yeah. Unfortunately, which I wish he would have, but I get it. He didn't want to. We can't criticize the old regime for taking players from our roster and then praise our coach from taking players from his old team. Pretty hypocritical if you really think about it.
I mean, and that's kind of the thing, is just trying to speed up that curve. I think we'll be better in those aspects. I think to beat OU this year, you're gonna have to play. I think you have to play, 4 complete quarters worth of really good and disciplined football. You have to make them make a mistake. So, thing is that Cincinnati. I think Iowa State, the very next game. I think Iowa State would be one of those teams that would try to Kansas State you, if I may, as far as they know that they don't have the talent to really counter your defense. But what we're going to do is literally, like I just said, make you think. We're going a lot of pre-snap stuff. You're going to see a lot of pre-snap motions, all types of stuff. Can you actually identify what is the correct move to make? And so that's a game that will be really interesting. You know that Iowa State's going to come in here. It doesn't matter if they're down to their 5th string quarterback. They're the walk-on quarterback. They're going to still come in here and give you their best shot. Last year was just a game of basically just finally making the right plays. It was there the entire time. I watched that game an awful lot. Shout out to Mr. McIntosh. I always give Mr. McIntosh a shout out on this show. But
shout out.
Literally that if you go back and watch that Iowa State game, it was there the whole time for Stutzman. Once Stutzman finally got the interception, I said, finally, my God.
My man figured it out, man. It's like it clicked. It's like it clicked in his head, like, oh, wait, let me move here. And it worked.
You like, man, they've been running the same play. It's they was running that play 3. Every time they got a first down, it was the second play that they would run after that. Yeah, it was the second play that would run after every first down that they got, I promise you. So that's a game right there that you're looking at, just saying, okay, this will be another good battle test. Then Oklahoma at Texas. This is where it gets really interesting. Mm-hmm. Texas thinks that they're going to come out there and curb stomp us again. But my thing is this right here. Outside of Rice and Wyoming, they play Alabama. Then they play Baylor on the road after they get through playing Wyoming. And then they come home against Kansas, and then they go and play us. Kansas is going to be a good team this year. Contrary to your belief, Kansas is going to be a good team this year.
Kansas is going to give them problems. Jalen Daniels is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think that could be that's a tricky game, because obviously your rival, you want to curb stomp them, you want to do this. Kansas, last 2 out of 3 years, they got y'all.
I put it like this. Dylan Gabriel plays in Red River last year. We don't lose 49-0. No. We lose, but we score a few times on them. It's a closer game.
The way that we were moving the ball on the ground, if Dylan Gabriel's playing, I think I'll be honest with you, I think it's kind of a shootout.
It really is. And we actually have a chance to win that game too, to be honest.
We actually have a chance to win that game. It's a shootout, and if Texas wins, then it's probably by either like some weird score, like maybe 5 or possibly a touchdown and a field goal, maybe 10. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. But how do you feel? Do you feel we're 5-0 going into the Texas game?
Oh yeah, easily. That we have no excuse to not be 5-0 going into that one. And Chicken, points out here, on the DC road, people talking about, Roof shouldn't be the DC. Roof is there by Roof is a really good recruiter at linebacker. That's why you have Ted Roof and you have him there at that role. At a certain point, you end up moving on from him at DC. You pass it on to if Bates wants it to keep him around, or you find somebody, or Brandon Hall, who has called a defense similar to BV's when he was at, I think it was at Troy, and they had like a top defense. Heck, if I'm correct, they beat I forgot who they beat in that season, but yeah, he's only there as for the most part as a ceremonial or just there in name. I think BV does for the most part call plays on that side.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what are your thoughts about the Texas game?
Man, Texas is gonna be tough. I'm gonna be honest. I do think we have a chance of beating them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that Texas is invincible. I think that we can. I put it like this: I can see BV baiting Quinn Ewers into doing plays that he shouldn't do.
Yeah, I think,
and that's the tactician that you have in a DC setup of Venables, and you adding Bates in him, and then the fact that we've got, I think, 6 300-pounders on the defensive line now.
Yeah,
they'll be ready to fight with that Texas offensive line and really make things a problem.
So my whole thing is you were there at the game last year, weren't you?
No, I was not. I was in Death Valley that weekend. I was at the LSU Tennessee game. So yeah,
so I was there. So my opinion about it is just simply this right here. I think we have the talent. I think we have the coaching. We got to stop the little cute stuff that they like to run, and some of the screen actions that they were running last year to kind of throw us off. I mean, it was some of the slowest screen actions I've seen, but they were still able to get it. We just fell apart. And then also, guys, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, with Worthy was more of a decoy than anything last year. Whittington was eating everybody up last year, running underneath Worthy's routes. So, I mean, I literally was just watching it. Every route that they ran was like a twin route, and they would break off pretty much. And at the height of it, whenever he's climbing, you always knew that whatever Worthy was running, even it could be an orbit route, but eventually it was going to turn him just running up, doing a go route. Not even a post, not nothing like that, not nothing fancy. Just he was just going to turn and go. And so you're stressing those safeties or that corner that's running with him, or that nickel, that cheetah, right? Or whoever was out there. And then, I mean, hell, you got him just running underneath. And I was like, man, Woody out here basically playing for his life, because he's got Worthy under control, but you're running Whittington right underneath. So it was the perfect game plan. It was the perfect storm. But at the same time, if you're not asking Eric Gray to do jump passes, and if you would stop for whatever reason when you get to the goal line, don't have Gray doing that they got some size, a little bit of size on that defensive line. Why were we not running Braden Willis? That was my whole thing. I don't know. But this year, I'm gonna say I think we're 6-0 after this, man. I think we're 6-0 after Texas.
You're not gonna find me arguing against that thought. Like I can see a world where we are at that exact number. There's nothing that tells me that we can't do it.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and blow through this the rest of this. We got UCF at Oklahoma. I think that will be that
game's gonna be a challenge.
That game's going to be a challenge. And I'll say like this right here. Why? If you replace UCF with Tulane, it'll be the same exact type of offense. It's very gadgety. It's a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of it's a lot of misdirection, to be honest with you. It's a lot of timing. Everything has to go right. Go back to the Nebraska game, not last year, but 2 years ago when they came to Norman. It's the same thing. Whenever everybody is shifting and going to the right, you got a fullback, or you got your H-back running up down the side of the field wide open. You get what I'm saying? They're going to be a team that where they have Rice Plumlee. He can he can run the ball a little bit. He's a little bit mobile. I would not be surprised if they try to attack the middle on us an awful lot and try to just move the ball that way. That's going to be a tricky game because it's one of those games where we should win by 20, but at the same time, they play a style of ball that is physical enough to come here and give us, honestly, if they're anybody this year, they're Baylor for us.
Could be. And that's the thing about it, Gus Malzahn knows how to coach.
Yeah.
So you're going to run into a challenge just dealing with him, and I'm not comfortable enough to say that we just beat the doors off of them. But I do believe we have a better team than them overall. So, I mean, hell, everybody thinks that we have a better team. They think that everyone thinks we have the second best team in the conference easily. And our boy Truth is in the comments. Love Truth. What's good, bro? Yes, a lot of people did think that it was going to be the other direction of 49-0 in that game last year. And when we had a quarterback, I think it was a different story. But, if ifs and whats were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. So we'll just leave that.
I not kid you, bro. My chat just updated finally.
That's funny. Interwebs do not like you today. Yeah, I'm looking at I've got it playing on the side. So, but he says that Ty's gonna wear we're gonna wear Texas colors for this game. I don't see Ty. Ty ain't wearing no.
Frightening truth. What do you, bro? Stop playing.
Terrorizing us.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Hey, man, those are too close to Auburn colors, man. He's going to have a problem. Now, the bet, I know the bet's there. Yeah, but, yeah, be prepared for some fun banter back and forth. But I do agree with Kim there. If we can beat Texas, we go undefeated. I don't see a lot. The only game, and I've said this truthfully, BYU makes me nervous for only one reason. BYU and Kansas makes me nervous. BYU, the good thing about the UCF game is that it comes off a bye week. So whatever ailments we get in the Texas game, we get a week to rest before we play again. Kansas could be the trap game because we're looking to destroy Okie Light as we leave the conference.
Oh.
So if we overlook Kansas, and we shouldn't, because Kansas is going to be really good this year, that is preparation for Bedlam. BYU is the game that we would overlook and prep for TCU.
That's the game I'm saying. If there's a game on our schedule that we lose, it's BYU. I just playing that temperature, the possibility of it being a damn night game. Oh my gosh, it's a lot.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm dropping here. You smell what the Rock is cooking. That's where my concerns come in for the BYU game. That's the two games that have scared me this year is BYU and Texas, only because of when they're played. The good thing, though, now this is the thing that has saved our grace in this Texas game, and I'm not as nervous anymore, is that I don't even know if Iowa State's going to even play football this year. Do they have enough players on their roster?
Is the question we ask ourselves. Okay, let's segue. So just let me ask you, because from what it looks like for me, because I'm gonna say they're gonna beat TCU. From what it looks like to me, 11-1 is
11-1. 10-2 is our worst, is our floor.
12-0 is our floor. Frightening truth. Go back and tell all the Texas fans that we said that 10-2 is 10-2 at worst, baby. 10-2 at worst.
Oh man, yeah, I say 10-2 at worst.
All right, we got through that. So let's hit some bonus topics because a little couple of things that we need to discuss. So first off, what are your thoughts about Iowa State? Are you just gassing, or you really think that that's a real thing, a real possibility?
Oh no. What do you mean? Them basically shutting down their programs?
Yeah.
Allow them players play. I mean, they just going to find bodies at this point. They've lost what? So far, 6 players, and there's probably more in that investigation. I haven't dug deep into it, but there's a lot of players in that investigation. Yeah. They are in shambles. You lost your starting quarterback and some other I think it's 5 starters. Yeah, man, that hurts. That hurts. Even though that may actually help Iowa State bringing in a new quarterback, but I don't know if they have a better quarterback than Hunter Decker right now. So, Sooner Cowboy, with that, I said 10-2 is the worst. Our floor is 10-2. Our ceiling is undefeated. And if you want to know my 2 losses, I would say Texas and possibly BYU or TCU.
Don't say that.
One of those 2. I said
not
it
on
again.
this podcast. Don't say that.
Altitude, and playing and looking forward is our problem with that one. And like I said, the Iowa State game is helping us even more because they ain't gonna have no players on their team.
That's true.
If they ain't got no players on their roster, then I mean, what concern do you have for Iowa? I mean, we don't play Iowa. So
I know we don't play Iowa, but what about Iowa? What have they lost any players as well? I haven't really kept up with it.
I think they lost like 2 or 3. And it's been some basketball players too. So yeah. So yeah, it's the list has become long for 3 more members of the Iowa program. Yeah, you've got there's a lot of them. Yeah. So
I was wondering. I was like, I mean, how many people are? I was like, how many again? Because I didn't realize that there was already 6 people that was kicked off. They were dismissed from the program.
You say what?
Are they suspended or are they dismissed from the program altogether?
Right now, they're suspended as they're being investigated. We don't know what there's no
anybody significant.
Yeah, there's no names yet. Let me see. Hunter Deckard is really the most high profile on the list.
Yeah,
he was charged.
I thought that he would have. I thought he would have a good season as well. I thought he would be able to play better. He was kind of like my Will Howard sleeper, just come out of nowhere with a little bit of a breakout campaign.
Yeah,
that's what they do. That's what they do up there.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So we're gonna stay as neutral as possible, but we got a little bit of a little scruffle, a little scrum fight. You know what I'm saying? A little something happened inside of Sooner Nation this week. I think everybody by now, if you haven't, you must be living out on a rock. If you haven't seen the whole Parker Thune versus
Casey
Murdoch? Yeah, Casey Murdoch.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pete Thune, man. Pete Thune has been on the show. That's what I'm calling him now. After that, I mean, he went on he let loose on his show the other night. He's been on the Horns Down podcast. Shout out to, that's what I call him now. I don't call him Parker. I call him Pete Thune. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I feel that's fitting. That was crazy. That was that was wild. But yeah,
I've lost their minds on that one, man. I don't like airing out dirty laundry online like that. To me, it's more of a you should.
Peter Thune.
Yeah, Peter Thune was the one that was doing it. Peter Thorne. So yeah, it just wasn't a good look for either. It was just 2 guys barking at each other online, and it just didn't look good. It's one of those, guys, you don't want to do that to yourself.
No. But nah, man, it just was. It's been a very hectic week in Sooner Nation with Williams Nwaneri, with that recruitment, how that went, and then this whole thing. So I just thought we would just mention that briefly or what.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, man.
But nah. So there you have it, folks. Jay, you got anything else that you think we need to touch on?
No, man. I think really we'll have there's a scrimmage this weekend, and so pretty excited about seeing what that turnout is. So far, the camp stuff coming out has been been good. We've been hearing some very good developments, honestly, on both sides of the ball. We've had moments where the defense looked dominant. We have moments where the offense did their thing. So, and yeah, I've been hearing the same thing true. Texas sounds like they have a good defensive line this year. I'm only player I'm afraid of though is Hill, Anthony Hill, the freshman. That I hope that he has to sit out our game because I like really good players, and he's one of those. He's really good. I just want him to sit out.
We shall see. We shall see. I think the Gary Patterson's not over there, so I've seen PK with and without Gary Patterson.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very fair. It's very fair. We know that it's gonna be a fun. The rivalry is gonna be back in beauty, especially now they have the name back again, which warms my heart that we actually did that they brought it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be some fun. It's gonna be a fun season. I think 2023, as we wrap up our lives in the Big 12, it's gonna be fun. And Kim, you're right. Everybody take a deep breath, chill the F out. No reason to lose your minds. So yeah.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last Saturday without college football. I mean, you can watch the NFL.
Ain't that crazy?
The last Saturday without college football. Next week, we get to watch Notre Dame and Navy battle it out in Dublin, Ireland. Then, if you stay up late, boys and girls, you get to watch San Jose State at USC.
Oh boy, we gonna have some fun.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of a little bit nervous about that Navy Notre Dame game, man.
I mean, there's reasons to be. I mean, we keep it a buck. There's good reasons to be. Just it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be different. It's gonna be fun though.
Sam Hartman better come out there slinging that ball. I'm gonna be like, nah, this ain't it, bro.
Right. If he ain't slanging that thing, we may as well just be like,
Anywho, we're gonna end it right here. We've been going for 56 minutes. Jay, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at again, bro.
Y'all know where to find me. Unfair Sports. A lot of my usuals are in here, which I totally appreciate y'all pulling up on both of our channels on a regular basis. We'll have more content coming down the line, especially as the season begins to, as we get close to the season. We're gonna be talking predictions. We'll do our lineups, depth charts, all of the bells and whistles that you all are gonna be looking for. So yeah, keep your eyes out.
Look. Horns Down Pod, okay? Our goal right now is I think we're a little bit over 300 subscribers. We're trying to get to 500. Like, subscribe, share all of this content. We're doing this weekly. We're back. We're doing it always. Horns Down Podcast, where the horns are always down. All right?
Always down, baby.
Wait a minute. Kchris, you slid out on that 1v1, huh? What are you talking about, Frightening? Anytime you want to come on the show, just let me know. I've been waiting on you. Got an open invitation, baby. We can go at it. It's gonna look like Skip and Jalen Rose. I'm gonna shut you down. All right, I'm gonna shut you down. But with that being said, y'all know what to do. Like I said, like, subscribe, share, follow Jay. Goal for him now. We ain't stopping at 10. We going to 20K. That's the goal. So. With that being said, we out.